Hello everyone, welcome to Amrita IS monthly current affairs series, and we are doing the second session of the June month international affairs. So we will see some summits and initiative starting with the D10 club for 5G. So US wants to create a D10 club of 10 democracies. Again you can see the same thing. I should see the extension of the thought that we have discussed in the first session, that is US going against the Hawaii or creating the global consensus that Hawaii is not good, Hawaii's monopoly is not good, or Chinese monopoly is not good for the 5G technology, or in a larger sense in the overall digital ecosystem. So the UK administration has approached US with the prospect of creating 5G club of the 10 democracies including India amid the growing security concerns related to the Chinese telecom giant, that is Huawei, right? So including India. So D10, if it is in the news, this is the club of 10 democratic countries. Next is 6th International Yoga Day, not very important. The theme was that doing yoga at home, yoga for health, yoga at home. Okay. So 21st June, this is being celebrated every year now. India has initiated when the Prime Minister Modi came into power in 2014. Then we have the Universal Periodic Review. How the question can come for this? So the question can come by Universal Periodic Reviews in the news. How it is related to which area it is related to. So basically Universal Periodic Review is being done by the United Nations Human Rights Council. Okay, so this is being done by United Nations Human Rights Council. We have discussed the difference between human rights United Nations Human Rights Council versus the High Commission for Human Rights that is there in the United Nations. Okay, so what is the difference between both of them? We have discussed that already. If you want to see that, download the PDFs and see that. International relations have covered so much in depth in our series. This is the 13th month we are covering, and we are covering the 14th month of the current affairs for this year's. Right, so this is being done 4.5 years. Every 4.5 years, this Universal Periodic Review. Why it is in the news? Because our NHRC, that is National Human Rights Commission, has said in its report that India is thinking of implementing the universal basic income in India. It is similar to the Nyaya scheme that the Congress government wanted to implement or what they have in their manifesto. It is similar to the idea that is being proposed by the Economic Survey 2 to 3 years back in the Economic Survey. You can expect any day a essay or a mains or question on the universal basic income. That chapter of the Economic Survey was really wonderful. Okay, so what is universal basic income? So the idea is gaining the global currency, right? Because overall the yields are not picking up. Now the idea is to put money directly into the hands of the people, and universal means everyone will get the money. But in India, the problem will be a lot of people. We have a lot of population, so how much money you will give? So ultimately, some filters have to be done. You cannot give the same money to a rickshaw puller and the same money to a Mukesh Ambani, right? So de jure, it is a universal basic income, but de facto, it won't be a universal basic income. There will be some filters, right? Next is European Maritime Awareness in the Strait of Hormuz. So from the name itself, so in the Strait of Hormuz, having the monitoring of the maritime activity and guaranteeing the freedom of navigation. Why is it so? Because Strait of Hormuz is a very, very important sea lane, or the locus of the sea lane, or the choke point it is called. Because if it is choked, if something happens, then the oil supply will be problematic. Then the many of the economies that are dependent upon the oil supply will face a problem, right? So this is being its headquarters in Abu Dhabi. It is composed of Belgium, Denmark, Netherlands, French officers, and it is based in the French naval base, which is in the Abu Dhabi in UAE. This is the Strait of Hormuz. So France kickstarts the European missions in the Strait of Hormuz. So this is the part of the European Maritime Awareness Mission in the Strait of Hormuz. Next is the EAG meeting. So EAG, that Eurasian Group on combating money laundering and financing of the terrorism. This is known as the EAG. It's a regional body comprising of the 9 countries. Okay, you don't have to remember the 9 countries, just remember that India is a part of it. Okay, so EAG is India is a part of it. It's an associate member of FATF. So EAG is an associate, or it helps basically the FATF. FATF, which is one of the leading bodies that works with the money laundering and terror financing and all this. We have read one of the questions last time about the FATF, right? So it was in the news because India has participated in the virtual meeting of the EAG under the aegis of the FATF. Next is Rural Poor Stimulus Facility, RPSF. So this is a facility announced by the International Fund for Agricultural Development for long-term developmental objectives, right? So basically it has drawn a multi-donor COVID-19 response, that is Rural Poor Stimulus Facility. So the countries, that is IFAD supported countries, which are at the risk of not achieving their developmental outcomes due to COVID-19 will receive some funding from the RPSF. How the question will come? Question will be very easy. So recently in the news, Rural Poor Stimulus Facility, it is an initiative of option 1 World Bank, option 2 World Economic Forum, option 3 IMF, option 4 IFAD. Like that question will be there. Okay, right. Next question is STARS program. So the STARS program is a program by the World Bank. The idea of the STARS program is to improve the governance and the quality of the school education. Okay, so it focuses on the school education, first thing. Secondly, it is supported by the World Bank in the 6 states, not all over the India. So Himachal, Kerala, MP, Maharashtra, Odisha and Rajasthan. The states are very far away, so don't remember the states. Just remember it is not in the whole India. Some of the states, so you can make a map also. So Kerala, MP, Himachal, Maharashtra, Odisha and Rajasthan. So these are the 6 states where it will be taking place. So in the 6th state for improving the quality education. So they are providing around 500 million project, $500 million of the worth of project will be taken up in these states. So they will provide local level solution, need based training, strengthening the foundational learning and these things. Now let us see some India centric thing. First is basically in the June month we have the Modi-Morris E-Summit, right? So India-Australia E-Summit. So you can expect one question in the main exam as well as from the pre itself. So what are the different declarations I have signed? From the pre perspective I have covered. From the main perspective we will see later. So joint declaration on the shared vision for maritime cooperation in Indo-Pacific. The question come directly itself. This is in the news. This is with respect to which country, or India has signed this vision or this declaration with which country. So this country is Australia. So the idea is to promote peace, security, stability and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific. Okay. So joint declaration on the shared vision on the maritime cooperation in Indo-Pacific between the Republic of India and the government of the Australia. Then we have the comprehensive strategic partnership. So basically India has the partnership with many countries, different names are there. For example, with Russia, we have the strategic and privileged partnership. Okay. With Japan, we have some other. For example, with the USA, we have CGP, that is comprehensive and global partnership. So similarly, with Australia, we have enhanced our bilateral cooperation. So earlier, we have the strategic partnership. 2009, we have the strategic partnership. Now, Australia is right at the center of our, our foreign policy paradigm. So now we have elevated our partnership with Australia to the comprehensive strategic partnership. Okay. They will also be upgrading the existing 2+2 dialogue to the ministerial level. So 2+2 dialogue is basically the new system that has been coming up. I have discussed 2+2 dialogue. So we have institutionalized 2+2 dialogue with USA, with Japan, and now it is the turn of the Australia to elevate it from the official level to the ministerial level. Okay. Next is comprehensive partnership. So India already have the 2+2 with US and Japan and other member of the Quad. So now all the 4 members of the Quad will be having this 2+2 dialogue. And you can see all these development against the Chinese expansionism or the Chinese territorial revisionism. You can use these words while writing your mains answer. So India has signed this comprehensive strategic partnership with UK, Indonesia, Vietnam, UAE, and thus far. Not very important. Next is Mutual Logistics Supply Agreement, MLSA. So India and Australia have signed this Mutual Logistics Support Agreement to allow the access to the military bases for logistic support. Remember, we have signed this similar agreement with USA. We have signed this similar agreement with which country? France we have signed, right? We'll see one question also with respect to it. So basically this meeting was e-meeting. This was not the recent meeting photo. So agreed upon in the recent virtual summit with the Australian Prime Minister, Modi-Morrison summit, right? Next is line of control versus the line of actual control. Now both of we have discussed in detail about line of actual control, and line of control is basically we have with Pakistan. So what is the basic difference basically in between India and Pakistan with respect to LOC and LAC? You see LOC versus LAC. The difference is that LOC is actually internationally recognized. Okay, it is basically demarcated. LOC properly, not properly demarcated, but relatively more demarcated as compared to the LAC. Okay, so the loose demarcation line we have with respect to the LAC, right? So international boundary with respect to the Pakistan, it has been recognized, but with respect to China, it is not recognized. In contrast, alignment of the LAC have never been agreed upon. It is neither being delineated nor demarcated. And as we have discussed in the May month location, that because of this nature of the LAC, the problems of the Chinese incursion, the vagueness of the border, the problems remain at the India-China border right from 1962, in fact pre-1962 to this present time. Okay, so this can be best thought of an idea reflecting the territories that are at present under the control of each side pending resolution of the boundary dispute. So this is LOC, that is LAC. Majority of the locations we have seen of both the things. Next, border personal meeting points. So border personal meeting points with respect to China, we have 5 border personal meeting points where basically these people meet. So where the ceremonial and the practical meetings to resolve the border issues takes place, right? So it has been institutionalized from 2013. From 2013, we are meeting with the Chinese, Indian side and Chinese side. They're meeting at these 5 points. So what are these 5 points? First is in the Ladakh, we have in Daulat Bek Oldi, we have discussed the DBO road, remember? Then in the Chushul also, the location we have seen. So 2 locations are in Ladakh. 1 location is in Nathula in the Sikkim. 1 is in the Bamla in the Arunachal Pradesh, and 1 is Kibithu, that is in the Arunachal. Keep in mind these 2 locations, Bamla and Kibithu. Please see all these locations as well. I have not covered actually these 2 locations. All the 3 locations I have taught you. So you can consider, you can prepare these 2 locations, Bumla and Kibithu in the Arunachal Pradesh. Next is two front war, not very important. Two front war, what is this? So basically the idea that the India can face the war from both the fronts. One is, sorry, India's map. Okay, I'm not drawing it better here. So India basically can face the war from Pakistan side as well as from the China side at a time. So according to the military terminology, two front wars means when the opposing forces encounter 2 geographically separate fronts. So basically India will be fighting on this front from Pakistan and at this front from China. In fact, China can also attack from this front. Okay, eastern front, that is. Next is Chukha Dam on the Wangchu River. So the question will be very easy. So Chukha Dam is in the news. India has signed which country, and very intuitively you can also see will be with respect to Bhutan, because such names are with respect to Bhutan only. Okay, so Chukha Dam is in the Bhutan. So India and Bhutan, in fact, one of the important pillar of the bilateral relationship is the energy agreement both the countries have. India's commitment to develop 10,000 megawatt of the energy in the Bhutan by 2020. That's been the commitment. Okay. Next, actually some of these treaties were in news, were not very important, but just let's have a look at it. So Berlin rules, basically these are the best practices when it comes to the rivers that are transcontinental or trans-country, basically trans-country river. For example, Brahmaputra is a trans-country river. Indus is a trans-country river. So which are the best international treaties which are being taken up so that the rights of both upper riparian and the lower riparian state can be protected. So some of the rules, such as Berlin rules on the water resources, we have United Nations Convention on the laws of the non-navigational use of the international water courses. So if the question will be Berlin rules on the water resource, it is in the news, or the treaty on the Amazon cooperation in the news, or Mekong River Commission in the news. Why they are in the news, or what they refer to? So basically they refer to all the major good practices with respect to the inter-country, or you can say trans-country river management. Okay, don't go too much into deep of it, not very important. So that's the end of the session, everyone. Let us see 5 questions. Again, I will say, if you are watching these videos, please let me know how many questions you got right out of these 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, how many you got right? So the first question is with respect to the Global Alliance on the Incinerator Alternatives, consider the following statements. It is an intergovernmental alliance of the developing countries responsible for majority of the global waste production. It's an intergovernmental alliance of the developing countries responsible for the majority of the global waste production. First. Secondly, it supports and advocates for the fair wages and the safe working conditions for the rag pickers. Please let me know the answer, or at least try to solve this question. So basically, you can see the topic is Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives. So they're talking about some environmental thing. Environment also very focused environmental thing. Do you think that would be an intergovernmental organization? It's an intuitive thing. It's a commonsensical, intelligent guess you can do if you don't know about it. So do you think any international governmental body will be there that will be discussing all these incinerator alternatives? No. So it will be basically a partnership of many of these NGOs or the grassroots groups, non-NGOs, individuals in this country. Okay, something like that. And this is what you need to develop as you move forward while practicing your MCQs, right? So this is the first point. Secondly, the idea obviously is to shift towards the environmental justice. Second point is very generic. It will always be right. So second option was obviously right. So you have to, this is a it's a very intuitive question, or the basically question to improve your intelligent guesses. Okay. And this is all practice of the prelims question is all about. So the question here is not only for your content. I believe in the content more, but still some of the techniques and tricks you need to know here. Second option is right. The first option is wrong. Next, second question is spatial raptures, a term used often in the news, refers to. So 4 options are there. Some independent experts appointed by the United Nations to advise on the human rights. Grounds, special on the grounds reporter who observed and deployed by the International Press Institute. Group of military observers, or recently organized group of young Indian students sent to NASA. Very easy question. So the answer is A option. Actually, this spatial rapporteur are the individuals who basically help these United Nations, specifically this Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights. This was the topic I was telling you about, right? I think in the previous session or this session, I'm just forgetting. But when we have discussed this Universal Periodic Review in that part. Okay. So we have discussed the difference between Officer of the High Commission of the Human Rights versus UNHRC. So this question I'm expecting any day in the UPSC. So basically these individuals that come to help this organization, right? And they do not, it is said that they do not receive any salary, okay, any financial contribution for their work. So they provide support, personal support, logistic assistance to the United Nations, this Office of High Commissioner for the Human Rights. So you can read about it. So they are expert appointed by the United Nations Council and these things only. They are the special individual for human rights. That's all. So option A is right. Next question is, Consider the following statements. It's a tough question, right? But for the content I'm giving you, consider the following statement with respect to United Nations Convention on the International Settlement Agreement. The convention is also known as the Singapore Convention on the Mediation. So the first option. Secondly, it provides uniform and efficient framework for the enforcement of the international settlement agreements resulting from mediation and for allowing parties to revoke such agreements. Third, Union Cabinet of India has approved the signing of this. So, what will be the answer? Actually, it's a May month. In May 2019, the Union government has decided to sign this basically convention. Okay, so this is the Singapore, it is also known as the Singapore Convention on the Mediation. So mediation, arbitration, all these difference you must know. Like litigation is basically done in court, then we have mediation, then we have arbitration, right? So United Nations General Assembly in 2018 adopted this basically convention, United Nations Convention on the International Settlement Agreement resulting from mediation, and India has signed it. Okay. So this is a Singapore Convention on the Mediation, right? So India signs this UNISA and experts call for local law supporting the treaty. So all the three statements are right. If you don't know it, just consider it as a content and revise it. That's all. So just all the three parts are right. First, it is known as the Singapore Convention. Second, it helps to support uniform and efficient framework for enforcement of the international settlement agreements resulting from mediation. And third, India has signed it. Next, that is SHADE. With reference to shared awareness and deconfliction, consider the following statements. It is an international political platform aimed at coordinating the international naval activities combating piracy and people smuggling. Second, India is an active participant of the SHADE. Tough questions, right, this time? But no issue, because I try to complement it, which I have not covered in my current affairs. So actually I've tried to cover everything, but some of the things which I felt are at periphery, but I'll cover it with questions. 98% and 99%, I'll say 100% coverage I've tried to give of all the important topics for current affairs. Right, so what's the answer? So SHADE is basically Shared Awareness and Deconfliction Initiative. It's an initiative from European Union, some countries, NATO, all these things, right? So it's an international political platform based in Bahrain, intended to develop the structural strategy at coordinating international level against this piracy and human smuggling. And whenever these topics are involved, India will always be a very active participant of this, because India believes that this organized crime and this terrorism are very much linked, and it is India which is being at the receiving end of these problems, both the terrorism as well as the organized crime. Okay, so this is both the options are right. That is, first, it is international political platform aimed at coordinating the international naval activities, so piracy and people smuggling, and second is India being an active participant of it. Right. Next question, the last question, the Hormuz Peace Initiative. So which of the following initiative in the context of the recently held Hormuz Peace Initiative? It's an initiative by Iran that seeks stability in the Strait of Hormuz amid the escalating US-Iran tensions. Okay, it's an initiative witnessed participation from important stakeholders like USA, Russia, India, China. USA, Russia, India, China. Okay. Which of them is not correct? So you have to identify which of them is not correct. Apply a bit of common sense also in this question. Right. So you can see, if the first statement is right, that it is an initiative by Iran, right, then how can US be part of it? Because the US-Iran tensions are there. So whether the first statement is right or whether the second statement is right. Okay, both the statements cannot be right. Okay, so that is the first thing. One option you can eliminate directly. Okay, so basically it's an initiative led by the Iran. Okay, so India has attended this Hormuz Peace Initiative. So basically Mr. Rouhani has said that at United Nations, he has said that we want to create a coalition of hope. So coalition of hope of promoting peace, stability, progress, welfare of all the resident of the state of Hormuz region. Okay, and obviously the key players that are included here in besides India are Afghanistan and China. US will not be there. So because US and Iran are the arch enemies after the 1979. Okay. So with this, I think the sessions is finished. Second option is right. First option is first option is right. Second option is wrong. The question asks you to talk about the non-correct, and the second option will be not correct. So that's the end of the session, everyone. Let us quickly see what we have done today. So we started with a discussion on D10 Club for 5G. So we have discussed that who I think, right? 5G, who I think. One question you can expect, whether in science and tech or whether in international affair, you can expect one question on 5G. So D10 Club on 5G. Then we have discussed 6th International Day of Yoga. Then Universal Periodic Review, that is a United Nations Human Rights Council thing, that is today only we read. Then European Maritime Awareness in the Strait of Hormuz. Then this EAG meeting that is under the aegis of the FATF. India participated in it. Then we read about IFAD, that is International Fund for Agriculture Development, had developed the Rural Poor Stimulus Facility. Then STARS program of the World Bank to help the school education in the 6 states. So these things. Then we read about this joint declaration, the shared vision of the maritime cooperation in Indo-Pacific, India, Modi-Morrison summit. Australia is known as the middle power. One very good editorial, or the lead I should say, of C. Raja Mohan came when he talked about the importance of Australia for India in the current times, and he has given some historic perspective as well. That's a good editorial, you should read it. Then comprehensive strategic partnership, then mutual logistics supply agreement, then the difference between LOC and LAC we have seen, then the border personal meeting points, 5 meeting points we have discussed, then two fronts war we have discussed what is it, then Chukha Dam we have discussed, then some of the best international treaties for water, so Berlin Rules, United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Non-Navigational Use of International Water Course, then Global Alliance for the Incinerator Initiative, then Spatial Rapporteurs, and finally United Nations Convention on the International Settlement Agreement. So improve your content also here. If these very peripheral topics, not very important topics, but I think this will be sufficient. Okay. Then 2 questions on shade, and shade 1 can come, and this one also can come. These both are important. Okay. So share awareness and deconfliction and the Hormuz Peace Initiative. Both of them are important. So thank you everyone. That's the end of the session. So we have discussed many of the questions, right? I'm trying to give you the questions. Try to see the questions, download the PDF. You can revise these questions. Please tell me in the comment box how much you are getting in these questions, so that we can also see that how many of you are progressing with it. So see you in the next class, everyone. Bye bye for now. Thank you. We'll start with the July International Affairs.